Commissioner Stevenson.
Good morning.
You all are live.
Ready to go? Very good. Good morning and welcome to the November 16th meeting of the Sports Wagering Application Review Commission, also known as SWARC. We have convened today's meeting to determine if 10 applicants whose mobile sports wagering license applications have been qualified by Maryland Lottery and Gaming Control Commission, or Lottery, should be awarded a Maryland license. At our last meeting on October 19th, we had planned to meet November 21st, but we've been working with our consultants from Tass, Titinius, and Hollister and Spectrum Gaming Group to accelerate the pace to meet our original meeting date, and they have accommodated. We thank them for their diligence and professionalism through this process. SWARC will have additional meetings as Lottery qualifies applicants and as our advisors continue to review applications. And we hope that additional awards can be made at our meeting scheduled for December 14th. Mobile will account for the bulk of the revenue from sports wagering, and we're eager to enable Maryland to enter that market. The language of the law which created SWARC has been challenging, and our commission has taken seriously its intent to enable diverse participation in this new industry. SWARC was obliged to await the outcome of an industry analysis before we could issue regulations and invite competitive applications and thereby avoid costs and further delays. So it's taken us a while to get to this point. I'm grateful to all involved for doing their best to measure twice and cut once. The proposed agenda and materials for today's important and substantial meeting were distributed in advance, so our first item of business is a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
And I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. The motion carries. So we have PowerPoint slides for enabling everyone to follow today's meeting. Are they up? There we go. So turning to PowerPoint slide 1. Our consultants have prepared this presentation to facilitate an efficient meeting. I'll begin by briefly recapping the steps we followed in getting here, and then representatives of our professional advisors from the Taft Law Firm and Spectrum Gaming will review each applicant's materials in preparation for our commission's vote on their applications. Turning to slide 2, and that's 3 that I'm looking at. Did the numbers change?
Nope.
Overview. I just want to highlight from this slide that SWARC's work is based around the Lottery and Gaming Agency's infrastructure, which will monitor ongoing compliance by licensees with sports wagering regulations in Maryland. We're here in their facility today, and SWARC has relied on the good work of their professionals alongside Taft and Spectrum. Slide 3 summarizes our mission. We were tasked with seeking diversity in the new sports wagering industry in our state. So we took the steps set forth on this slide, including an educational event here in this building, inviting interest and collaborations. We based the criteria for 5% owners on existing Maryland regulatory metrics. And we've obtained one-page write-ups regarding the compliance with that requirement. On slide 4, we recap the application process that brings us here today. After navigating the process of writing, publishing, and authorizing SWARC's regulations and applications, in addition to the previously published lottery regulations, on September 6th, SWARC released the applications for the issuance of the competitive Class B sports wagering facility licenses and the mobile sports wagering licenses. All applications were due to SWARC on October 21st. We received 21 mobile applications towards the statutorily authorized 60 licenses and 6 facility license applications towards the statutorily authorized 30 licenses. In accordance with section 91E15F of the state government article, we commissioners have had copies of the full applications for our consideration since the week following the October 21 deadline. And Taft has received questions and comments from the commission as the team of professionals has been thoroughly vetting them. Some of the applications entailed large ring binders of documents, and we appreciate their professional help in digesting all that decision support material. Slide 6 describes the concurrent role of Maryland's lottery agency and the use of its alternative licensing standards to bring the 10 mobile applicants to us today. Their work includes background checks and business evaluations consistent with their regulation of other wagering industry activity in our state. On October 27th, Lottery transmitted to SWORC its decision statements for 10 of the applicants who have applied for mobile licenses. And with that, I'll turn the floor over to Kim Kopp of Taft to describe our professional advisors' evaluation of applications and present them to SWORC for action.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. It's been a long road. We're all happy to be here. I'm sitting here with one of my colleagues, Matt Para, who is from Spectrum Gaming. He's also here with some other colleagues from Spectrum. I've got some of my Taft colleagues here who have gotten us to this point. So we're all here to answer questions if there should be any when we get through the presentations. So if we can go to the next slide, I think this is just telling us today, as you've mentioned, we'll consider the 10 mobile sports wagering applications that Maryland Lottery and Gaming have qualified. In doing that, the kind of overview of how we think this will proceed is we'll give a brief overview of each applicant. SWORC commissioners will then be given an opportunity to ask questions of Taft or Spectrum. Then, of course, we can discuss the applications and, if inclined, take action on them. As you may recall, in SWORC's regulations, we established criteria we would consider the applications against. Specifically for mobile applications, SWORC established 13 factors to consider in awarding sports wagering licenses or mobile sports wagering licenses. These factors are set forth exactly from the regulations on the slide, so I will just run through them quickly and won't read them all. The criteria includes the applicant's experience, business ability, and track record to operate sports wagering, or of course, the experience of an online sports wagering operator, which we'll discuss in a moment. Applicant's ability to comply with sports wagering laws and regulations, applicant's culture of an investment in responsible gaming programs, applicant's financial ability and resources. If an applicant sought investors, the applicant's efforts to solicit a reasonable number of minority and women investors. Applicant sports wagering taxes expected to be payable to the state of Maryland, that would be revenues for education. Applicant's ability to commence sports wagering operations within a reasonable period of time of the license award. Creation of Maryland jobs. Applicant's commitment to make investments in Maryland. And we're getting there, stay patient. Whether the applicant's sports wagering business would appeal to a unique market. Responsiveness of the applicant, and whether the awards of the sports wagering license is in the public interest and consistent with sports wagering law and any other criteria deemed by SWORC to be necessary for issuance of the awards. Under the sports wagering law, if we vote today to approve any of these applications, we must find that the award of the license is in the public interest. Previously, when this commission has awarded sports wagering facility licenses, we found those award of those licenses to be in the public interest based on the following factors. Enhanced state fiscal resources for education. Of course, that's again the gaming taxes that were sports wagering, mobile taxes and gaming taxes we would expect to earn, economic development and employment opportunities spurred by the sports wagering industry, and regulation of an otherwise unregulated illegal sports wagering black market. Those factors could certainly be applicable to awards today. We've also proposed that there should be some additional public factors which are addressed on the slide. The license award provides opportunities for individuals satisfying SWARC's personal net worth requirements. That was our ownership criteria of the 5% being owned by persons of a personal net worth set forth in our regulations to participate in the sports wagering industry. Each applicant agreeing to submit to SWARC a diversity plan that will include strategies for obtaining diverse group of owners, investors, employees, and vendors. Wagers are protected by applicants being required to maintain cash reserves and performance bonds. Applicant addresses problem gambling through self-exclusion programs or industry standard responsible gaming tools such as self-imposed wagering limits or cooling off periods, which all of the applicants have in their proposals. Mr. Chairman, I think just to hand it back to you.
I want to emphasize, Commissioners, Section 9(1)(e)(15)(o) of the state government article prohibits SWARC from awarding a sports wagering license unless SWARC determines and declares the award of the license to the applicant is in the public interest and is consistent with the purposes of Title 9, Subtitle 1(e) of the state government article. About a year ago, during the November 18th, 2021 SWARC meeting, we discussed 3 public interest factors in favor of licensing sports wagering. 1, the enhanced state fiscal resources, that is money for education. 2, economic development opportunities. And 3, regulating an otherwise unregulated black market. And we have heard today from Kim several additional public interest factors that could be considered. So I'd like to ask for a motion to declare that the public interest factors that we considered at our November 2021 meeting, as well as the additional factors presented today, shall serve as the basis for awarding the competitive licenses for the Maryland sports wagering.
Mr. Chair, motion made.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously. So Ms. Kopp, would you please proceed with the presentation of each applicant for our consideration?
Of course, we would love to. Real quickly, before we get to that, we had 2 very common questions that we received from some of the commissioners. And that's what this slide will depict. I'll explain what it's intended to do. For the SWARC commissioners and of course, members of the public, we thought it might be helpful to provide a sample organization and operational chart for many of the applicants. Again, this isn't the structure for everybody, but it is something that we've seen common. So it's a representative of what we've seen in applicants. With respect to ownership, which depicted here in this slide, what we're seeing is most of the applicants are newly formed, not all, but most, and they're structured with an individual or an entity having the 5% ownership, and that person or person satisfying SWARC's personal net worth criteria set forth in its regulations, and then a 95% or not more than a 95%. Some have higher percentages by the personal net worth folks being owned by another entity, and some of them have parent companies up to publicly traded companies. With respect to the operations on the right side of the screen, what you'll see is most applicants, again, not all, this is just a representative sampling, don't have the experience themselves to run the sports wagering operation. So what they've done is engaged what Maryland Lotteries regs call an online sports wagering operator. And there's a contract between the operator and the applicant, and the operator then says, hey, I'll run it for you. And they do that by a contractual relationship. Often it's called an access agreement or market access agreement. And then in that contract, it sets forth the terms of the responsibilities for the operations falling on the online sports wagering operator and the applicant getting paid, for the right for that, getting paid revenues from those operations. So this was just intended to show an applicant structure. Again, this was one of the most common questions that we received in reading through the applications, because it may not be so clear, because the structure is kind of buried in a lot of legal documents. That would be a lot limited liability company agreements, operating agreements, and corporate structural documents. So we thought it might be illustrative to show the slide.
Thank you. I think that's very helpful and informative.
The next question that was very common was, we're interested in knowing how much or projected revenues the state of Maryland may earn from mobile sports wagering. Because the applicant's own projections were proprietary and confidential, Spectrum, and I'll let Pat turn it over to Matt to explain this slide, prepared this for us to give us an idea of what to expect.
Thank you, Kim. So what we did is we took an industry analyst recognized as one of the leaders in online sports betting and online gaming data analysis, Eilers and Kreshik Gaming. And we used them as a benchmark for what they previously projected for gross revenues in the state of Maryland from May 2022. Taking those and comparing them to the average projected gross revenues by the first 10 applicants today, we can see they are quite similar. This is not unexpected. They're commonly used for making projections by operators, but you can also, it also illustrates what the projected tax revenues to the state is going to be, as well as their projected marketing spend, which is one of the key considerations for the investment in the state of Maryland, because a lot of that marketing money will be going to local businesses and entities. So as you can see, in year one, we're looking at a total of around 178 million in gross revenues between the 10 applicants, and that will escalate up to 548.5 million by year 5, generating total taxes of around 100 million for the state in year 5, just for these initial 10 applicants. The aggregate market performance, you can see year one, it is expected that these first 10 applicants will lose money. That's very common when a new market opens up. There's a certain amount of education that has to go into informing the public of a new product being offered, such as online sports betting. And that's why you see such a high projected marketing spend in year one, and then it gradually declines to year 5, where the market would be more mature and the availability and knowledge of the products available.
So what I heard you say was the expected state revenue from these 10 applicants in 5 years is $100 million a year.
Between these 10.
Just want to make sure I'm reading this right. Thank you.
Near and dear to the state's heart. No, if there's no questions, Mr. Chairman, do you want me to proceed with the applicants
Does anyone
and
have any
commissioners?
questions of Ms. Cobb?
So that would be what percentage of the state dollars that go into gaming?
So it's at a 15% tax rate on the gross revenues.
But relative to other gaming, is that your
Right,
question?
relative
You know,
to other
relative to other gaming, can anybody help? Chicago group doesn't know us.
Just curious, that you don't have to answer that.
To be honest, Mr. Commissioner, it's really dependent on the market's adoption. If you compare it to other markets, brick and mortar casino far outweighs sports betting in most cases. So
Because in Las Vegas, I think it's about 5%.
I
Right,
would agree with you.
That's probably right.
I would agree with you.
that's in line with,
Yes, sir.
all right, thank you.
All right, hearing no other questions, please proceed. Ms. Cobb.
Okay, our first victim, applicant. We are taking the applicants in alphabetical order. So let's begin. I'm going to mispronounce this. I do it all the time. Our first applicant is Arundel Amusements, Inc., doing business as Bingo World. And despite what I told you of the typical structure that it's a newly formed applicant, that's not the case here, of course, with our first one. Bingo World is not newly formed. Rather, it was formed in 1992 to conduct bingo operations and was previously awarded by this commission a sports wagering facility license. The applicant is owned by 5 individuals, and there are 3 individuals who each own about 2%. And those 3 individuals satisfy SWARC's personal net worth criteria. All of the owners own Class A common stock and have equal voting rights. Applicant has engaged RSI MD, RSI Maryland LLC, an affiliate of Rush Street Interactive, Inc., a New York Stock Exchange listed gaming and sports entertainment company as its online sports wagering operator. It will operate under the brand name Bet Rivers. Rush Street operates in 14 states in the United States, Canada, Colombia, and Mexico. RSI Maryland LLC, the online sports wagering operator, operates Bingo World's retail sports book, which opened earlier this year. All financial costs of operating the mobile sports wagering operation on behalf of the applicant will be the responsibility of the online sports wagering operator. In its SEC filings for the quarter ended June 30th, 2022, Rush Street Interactive, the parent company, had cash and cash equivalents of $201 million and no debt. I don't know if anyone has any questions for us. Yeah, clearly the commissioners, you've seen the full applications and you do have much more detailed summaries that you've been presented with. I don't know if anyone has questions on the applicant.
Are there any questions of our advisors? If there are none, then may I ask for a motion to determine and declare the award of a mobile sports wagering license to Arundel Amusements, Inc. is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article.
A motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Now may I request a motion to award a mobile sports wagering license to Arundel Amusements, Inc., subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under section 9(1)(e) 15I2 of the state government article.
Motion made.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next.
Okay, moving on. Our second applicant to consider today is BetMGM Maryland Sports LLC. The applicant here is newly formed. It is owned 95% by BetMGM LLC and 5% by two individuals. The two individual owners satisfy SWARC's personal net worth criteria and own non-voting limited liability company interests. The applicant has engaged BetMGM LLC, one of its significant owners, as its online sports wagering operator. BetMGM is well known in the sports wagering industry. It is a joint venture between MGM Resorts International, a New York Stock Exchange listed multinational gaming entertainment company, and Entain PLC, a London Stock Exchange listed sports betting operator. BetMGM operates in 22 US states, Washington, DC, Puerto Rico, and Canada. BetMGM operates the in-person sports wagering at MGM National Harbor Casino in Prince George's County. The source of funding, BetMGM Maryland LLC, are this applicant's online sports wagering operator. Its source of funding will come from its parent company, BetMGM. BetMGM's financial statements are not publicly reported. However, of course, the commissioners, you have received financial statements and reports in your materials. Since its inception, BetMGM has been funded by its two parent companies. Again, that's BetMGM Resorts International and Entain, both thought to be well-capitalized companies.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Cobb. Does the commissioners have any questions of our advisors? Hearing none, then I have asked for a motion to determine and declare that award of a mobile sports wagering license to BetMGM Maryland Sports LLC is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. The motion's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried. Now may I ask for a motion to award a mobile sports wagering license to BetMGM Maryland Sports LLC, subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under section 91E15I2 of the state government article.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Here are none. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? None. The motion's approved unanimously.
Okay.
Next.
Proceeding on to our third applicant. Our third applicant is Crown Maryland Online Gaming LLC, doing business as DraftKings. I would ask them to have a shorter name. Just kidding. Anyway, this applicant is owned 95% by Crown Maryland Gaming LLC, which is a subsidiary of DraftKings, Inc., and also owned 5% by two individuals. The two individuals satisfy SWARC's personal net worth criteria and own limited liability company units in the applicant. DraftKings is a well-known mobile sports wagering operator. It has significant, it's also a significant operator of daily sports or daily fantasy sports wagering, and it operates in 18 states and in 17 countries. Crown Maryland Online Gaming LLC is newly formed. Its source of capital will be from its parent company, DraftKings. In DraftKings SEC filings for the second quarter of June 30, 2022, it reported cash and cash equivalents on hand of $1.5 billion. So I'd present to you Crown Maryland Online Gaming LLC for your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Kopp or the advisors on this applicant? Hearing none, may I ask for a motion to determine and declare that award of a mobile sports wagering license to Crown Maryland Online Gaming LLC is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article. Anyone?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Second.
All right. Thank you. Any discussion? Here are none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes unanimously. Now I seek a motion to award a mobile sports wagering license to Crown Maryland Online Gaming LLC, subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under section 91E15I2 of the state government article.
Motion made.
Motion is made,
Second.
seconded. Any discussion? Here are none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And on to the next, please.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, I present to you our fourth applicant is CZR, assuming Caesars, Maryland Mobile Opportunity LLC. This applicant is a newly formed entity. It's owned 95% by CBAC Borrower LLC, DBA Horseshoe Casino Maryland, and its affiliates. It's owned 5% by an LLC, which that the sole owner of that LLC satisfies the personal net worth criteria in SWARC's regulations. Ownership is in the form of non-voting Class B units. Applicant has engaged American Wagering, Inc., an affiliate of Caesars Entertainment, a NASDAQ-listed multinational gaming, entertainment, and sports wagering company as its online sports wagering operator. Caesars operates mobile sports wagering in 19 states, Canada, Bahamas, and in St. Kitts. The cost of operating mobile sports wagering on behalf of applicant will be the responsibility of the online sports wagering operator. Its parent company's SEC filings for the quarter ended June 30, 2022, Caesars indicated cash on hand or revolving credit available of $3.05 billion. So that would be presented for your consideration. You might be able to spare some.
Very good. All right, well then, any other, if there are no questions on this applicant, may I ask for a motion to determine and declare that award of a mobile sports wagering license to CZR Maryland Mobile Opportunity LLC is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article.
So moved.
And a second? Motion's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion's approved unanimously. May I have a motion, please, to award a mobile sports wagering license to CZR Maryland Mobile Opportunity LLC, subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under Section 9(1)(e) 15I2 of the state government article.
So moved.
I have a motion, second, and a second. Any
Second.
discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, approved unanimously. Next.
Okay, our fifth applicant is Greenmount LLC. Or I'm sorry, Greenmount OTB LLC. My apologies. Again, this is not a newly formed entity. Rather, the applicant was formed in 2017 for the purpose to conduct off-track wagering operations and has previously been awarded by this commission a sports wagering facility license. This applicant is owned by two individuals. One of those individuals satisfies the personal net worth requirement set forth in SWARC's regulations. All owners own LLC interests and have voting rights. Greenmount has engaged Parks Interactive Maryland, Inc., an affiliate of Greenwood Racing, Inc., as its online sports wagering operator, operating under the brand name BetParks. Greenwood Racing is the leader in parimutuel wagering and online account wagering. Through its subsidiaries, it conducts sports wagering and online gaming in 3 U.S. states, with applications pending in 2 additional states. Parks Interactive Maryland, Inc. operates Greenmount's retail sportsbook under the BetParks sportsbook name. All operations for mobile sports wagering will be the responsibility of Parks as the online sports wagering operator. Greenwood Racing's financial information is not publicly reported. However, the SWARC commissioners have been granted access to financial statements, and the applicant was previously evaluated by Maryland Lottery and Gaming for purposes of financial stability. So I present to you Greenmount OTB LLC for your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions? May I then have a motion to determine and declare that award of a mobile sports wagering license to Greenmount OTB LLC is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article.
Motion made.
I have a motion, do I have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion is approved unanimously. Now, may I have a motion to award a mobile sports wagering license to Greenmount OTB LLC, subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under Section 9(1)(e) 15I2 of the state government article.
So moved.
Thank you. I have a motion and
Second.
a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is approved unanimously, and we're halfway there.
I was just going to say that, Mr. Chairman, you're halfway through. Our sixth applicant for consideration is Longshots LLC. This applicant was formed in 2021 for purposes of obtaining a mobile and retail sports wagering license. This applicant is owned by one individual. That individual satisfies the personal net worth criteria set forth in SWARC's regulations and owns, of course, all of the LLC interests in that entity. Longshots has engaged Betfred Sports Maryland LLC, an affiliate of Betfred Group Limited, a privately held multinational sports betting company based in the UK that has been in business for over 55 years and operates 1,400 or more retail betting shops and mobile sports betting operations. Betfred operates in 6 U.S. states currently: Gibraltar, Ireland, Spain, South Africa, and in the UK. Longshots was awarded the sports wagering facility license by this commission in December of 2021. Its retail sports book is not yet operational. I understand it's coming soon, but when it is, it will be operated by this same operator, Betfred Maryland. All costs of operating the mobile sports operation on behalf of Longshots will be the responsibility of the online sports wagering operator. Betfred Maryland is funded through an intercompany loan from its parent entity, and we expect that this loan will be sufficient to fund Maryland operations based on the 5-year projections that we received in the application. Betfred's financial information is not publicly available. The SWARC commissioners, you have received the financial statements from this applicant and their parent, or this online sports wagering operator's parent, for your consideration.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any questions of our consultants about this applicant? Hearing none, then may I have a motion to determine and declare that award of a mobile sports wagering license to Longshots LLC is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article?
Motion made.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, discussion. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun there. Is there any discussion of the motion? Hearing none. Now may I ask for all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Again, that applicant's motion is passed unanimously. Now may I have the motion to award a mobile sports wagering license to Longshots LLC, subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under section 91E15I2 of the state government article. Any discussion? Do I have a motion? I'm sorry, do I have a motion?
Motion made.
Motion's made and
Second.
seconded. Now any discussion? And hearing none, then all in favor is signify saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion's approved unanimously. Somebody needs to advance the slide.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, we will move to our 7th applicant for consideration as Maryland Stadium Sub LLC. This applicant was formed in 2021 for the purpose of obtaining a mobile and facility sports wagering license. Applicant is a designee of FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, home of the Washington Commanders. Applicant is owned 100% by Mr. Daniel Snyder. However, per a contractual agreement, applicant has engaged an LLC that will receive at least 5% of applicants' revenues from mobile sports wagering operations. This revenue share is intended to satisfy SWARC's ownership and participation requirements. The owner of that LLC satisfies SWARC's personal net worth criteria. Applicant has engaged FBG Enterprises OpCo LLC. I'll refer to it as FPG, a subsidiary of Fanatics Holdings, Inc., as its online sports wagering operator. Fanatics, you may all have heard of and know. Fanatics is well known as it's a very large and popular distributor of officially licensed sports memorabilia for many of the sports leagues, so jerseys and collectibles. Fanatics has not yet commenced mobile sports wagering operations in the U.S., but has several licenses pending for issuance. The cost of mobile sports wagering operations on behalf of the applicant will be the responsibility of the online sports wagering operator, FBG. FBG is newly formed. entity, but it'll be funded through an intercompany loan from its parent company. FBG believes it has sufficient funding from this intercompany loan based on its 5-year projections that were provided in the application. The parent company's financial information is not publicly reported. However, SWARC commissioners do have access to that financial information in their application materials. So I'll present to the commission Maryland Stadium Sub LLC for consideration.
All right, does anyone from the commission have any questions or comments about this application for our advisors? Hearing none. May I have a motion to determine and declare that award of a mobile sports wagering license to Maryland Stadium Sub LLC is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article?
Motion made.
I have a motion, a second, and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Now may I have a motion to award a mobile sports wagering license to Maryland Stadium Sub LLC, subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under section 91E15I2 of the state government article?
Motion made.
I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Thank you. And any discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Motion is carried. On to the next.
Okay, commissioners, I present to you our 8th applicant for consideration today. It's Penn Maryland OSB LLC. This applicant is newly formed. It's 100% owned by Penn Cecil Maryland LLC, doing business as Hollywood Casino Perryville, which is a subsidiary of Penn Entertainment, a NASDAQ-listed gaming entertainment company that operates several casinos and sportsbook across the United States. Applicant did by a grant to an LLC a 5% profits interest, which will allow the holder to share in future profits of the applicant. The sole member of the LLC that owns this profits interest satisfies the personal net worth criteria set forth in SWARC's regulations. This applicant has engaged Penn Sports Interactive LLC, also a subsidiary of Penn Entertainment, as its online sports wagering operator. Penn Sports operates sports wagering in 12 US states and Canada. Penn Sports operates the retail sports book located at Hollywood Casino in Maryland. All cost of operating the sports wagering operation on behalf of the applicant will be the responsibility of the online sports wagering operator. In SEC filings of the parent company, Penn Entertainment, for the quarter ended June 30, 2022, was reported to have cash or credit facility available for draw of $1.7 billion. I present to you Penn Maryland OSB LLC for consideration.
Very good. Any questions of our advisors about this applicant? Hearing none, then may I please have a motion to determine and declare that award of a mobile sports wagering license to Penn Maryland OSB LLC is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article.
Motion made.
I have a motion, second. Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. Now may I have a motion to award a mobile sports wagering license to Penn Maryland OSB LLC, subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under section 91E15I2 of the state Maryland article.
Motion made.
I have the motion
Second.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. And any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. That motion carries unanimously.
Our ninth applicant for consideration today is PPE Maryland Mobile LLC. This applicant is newly formed and had a pretty complicated ownership structure. I'm going to try to summarize it as quickly as I can. Through a bunch of intermediary companies, the company is owned at least 90% by owners of Live Casino and Hotel, including members of the Cordish family, and up to 10% by management level employees of Cordish Gaming's properties. The applicant here established an employee ownership plan, and through that offered up to 10% ownership of the applicant to its management level employees. And those employees were able to either purchase those interests outright or take advantage of a low interest loan from the Cordish companies to purchase their interest. The loan would be repaid from distributions that owners would receive from their ownership interest. If a team member would leave the employee of Cordish Gaming, then the interest is repurchased at fair market value. As of November 4th, 2022, which is the latest update and submission we have from the applicant, there are 91 participants that have purchased interest in the applicants. That represents 8.1% of the applicant that are participating in this program. Of the 91 participants, 86 management level employees of Cordish Gaming, which would own approximately 7.2% of the applicant, satisfy SWARC's net worth criteria or requirement. So it was pretty interesting way to go about it and certainly satisfies our 5% criteria. So it was just somewhat creative, would be my comment to that. Applicant has engaged Betfair Interactive US LLC, which you would probably know if I said if it was FanDuel, a subsidiary of Flutter Entertainment, which is a London Stock Exchange listed online sports wagering operator. FanDuel operates in 16 US states and also operates the retail sports book at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, located in Hanover. All costs of operating mobile sports wagering on behalf of the applicant will be the responsibility of FanDuel, the online sports wagering operator. For its quarter ended June 30, 2022, its parent company, Flutter Entertainment, reported cash and cash equivalents of 781 million pounds, which approximately is 850 million US dollars. So I'd present to the commission PPE Maryland Mobile LLC for consideration.
Thank you. This one was very interesting. Does anyone from the commission have any comments or questions about this application?
Did you do that conversion yourself?
I did. Thank you for the internet too. Let me plug that in.
Very, very good. All right. Any other questions? Hearing none. May I have, please, a motion to determine and declare that award of a mobile sports wagering license to PPE Maryland Mobile LLC is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article.
So moved.
Thank you. I have a motion, a second,
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. And all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That motion passes unanimously. Now, may I have a motion to award a mobile sports wagering license to PPE Maryland Mobile LLC, subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under section 91E 15I2 of the state government article.
Motion made.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? Again, approved unanimously.
Commissioners, we have our final applicant for today for consideration, but certainly not least, and because it went alphabetically, I apologize. There is one of the owners is in the audience today. He's been very patiently waiting to get to his slide. The applicant here is Riverboat on the Potomac LLC. Riverboat is newly formed for the purpose of obtaining the online sports wagering license as well as the retail license. Riverboat is owned ultimately by 4 individuals, all of whom satisfy SWARC's personal net worth requirement, and all of whom own limited liability company interests with equal voting rights. Riverboat has engaged PointsBet Maryland LLC, an affiliate of PointsBet Holdings Limited, which is an Australian stock exchange listed multinational sports wagering operator, as its online sports wagering operator. PointsBet operates in Australia, Canada, and 11 US states. Riverboat was awarded by this commission a sports wagering facility license on December 8th of 2021, and PointsBet Maryland operates the Maryland's sportsbook currently at Riverboat. Cost of operating the mobile sports wagering on behalf of Riverboat will be, of course, the responsibility of the online sports wagering operator, PointsBet Maryland, based on the public filings of its parent company, PointsBet, for the year ended June 30, 2021. I'm sorry, year ended June 30, 2022. Let's get to the right year. My apologies. PointsBet had cash reserves of 472 million Australian dollars, which equates to approximately 296 million USD dollars or US dollars. It's our last one. I apologize for messing up those numbers, but I would present to you for consideration Riverboat on the Potomac LLC.
Very good. It's a fascinating place sticking out in the river. So it's a nice
Very unique place.
story. So are there any questions of our advisors regarding this applicant? Hearing none, then may I have a motion, please, to determine and declare that award of a mobile sports wagering license to Riverboat on the Potomac LLC is in public interest based on the factors identified earlier today and consistent with the purposes of Title IX, Subtitle 1E of the state government article.
So moved.
We have a motion and a
Second.
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 Thank you. Thank you very much. And is there any discussion of the motion?
Mr. Chairman, can I just? I'll wait.
Well, this was the discussion part.
No, that's fine.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, may I, with all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That motion carries unanimously. Next, may I request a motion to award a mobile sports wagering license to Riverboat on the Potomac LLC, subject to the applicant submitting the memorandum of understanding required under section 9(1)(e) 15(I)(2) of the state government article.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? None. With the motion carries. And that concludes our 10. Yes, sir. Mr.
I
Attorney.
just wanted to point out that I think we certainly met the charge of the legislature. We do have Longshot, which is owned by a woman-owned company, and also Riverboat, which is a minority-owned company. So I think we did meet the charge of the legislature in making sure that we did have diversity throughout the.
And I will add, I think the Cordish plan was very impressive to bring a lot of people meaningfully into the new industry. And before I go to next steps, I just want to take a moment to thank Taft for this presentation.
Absolutely.
I'm an old financial and business guy, and this is a challenging industry to understand. And the materials that we were all obliged to digest there was a lot of information there. And for us to do our jobs, having the data parsed and presented as we received in confidence and then summarize today is not a trivial task, and I just want to express my gratitude.
Chairman.
Certainly, thank you. And I thank my colleagues at Spectrum Gaming for their help as well.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would be remiss, Randy Conroy is in the audience. I think Caesars went above and beyond. They have a 40%
Yeah, I didn't mean to call others out, but thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of good reading about creative, well-intended efforts on the part of the people. And this is clearly going to be a substantial business.
And since Mr. Stamper is right beside us, we did use gender neutral.
Golly,
Yes.
I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
I'm not either.
This has been a journey. All right. Next steps for SWORK. Our consultants are continuing to review the remaining 11 mobile sports wagering license applications and 6 Class B sports wagering license applications. In addition, lottery is continuing to review the qualifications of each of these applicants. As they are qualified by lottery and reviewed by our consultants, they'll be presented to our commission for consideration. For today's awardees, the SWORK staff will be contacting you about completing the statutorily required memorandum of understanding. Once the MOU is completed and signed and the decision statement has been issued, today's action will be final. Awardees are also reminded that they must submit their diversity plans to SWORK within 30 calendar days after the license award. SWORK will transmit the decision statements to Lottery, who will review the awardee's internal controls and responsible gaming measures, as well as monitor its controlled demonstrations before issuance of their licenses. So I don't see a need to go into closed session today unless someone else on the commission feels otherwise. All right, our next SWORK meeting is currently scheduled for December 14th, 2022 at 9 a.m. here at Lottery headquarters. Please mark your calendars accordingly. And then do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The motion carries. And that concludes today's meeting. And I thank everyone for bringing us to this point today.